Not long ago, over-engineering was often celebrated in the tech industry. More features, more sensors, more customization, and more technical complexity were seen as proof of innovation. Devices were packed with experimental capabilities, ambitious designs, and edge case functionality that few users fully understood. Today, that mindset has shifted. Across the US tech industry, companies are increasingly afraid of over-engineering new devices, and that fear is shaping how modern hardware is designed. At the heart of this shift is a growing recognition of diminishing returns. Modern devices are already powerful enough to handle most real-world use cases. Adding more complexity rarely creates proportional value for users. Instead, it increases development time, cost, and risk. Tech companies have learned that a device can be technically impressive and still fail if it feels confusing, fragile, or unnecessary. One major reason companies fear over-engineering is reliability. The more complex a device becomes, the more potential failure points it introduces. Additional sensors, moving parts, software dependencies, and integrations all increase the chance that something will break. In a market where consumers expect devices to work flawlessly out of the box, even small reliability issues can damage trust quickly. Over-engineering also complicates manufacturing. Advanced designs often require tighter tolerances, specialized components, and more complex assembly processes. This makes production slower, more expensive, and harder to scale. Even minor design flaws can cause yield problems or delays. For tech companies operating in an environment of tighter margins and cautious spending, these risks are increasingly unacceptable. Another key concern is support and maintenance. Highly complex devices are harder to troubleshoot, repair, and update. Each additional feature creates new support scenarios that customer service teams must handle. This drives up long-term operating costs long after the product has launched. Many companies have learned that a simpler device with fewer failure modes is far easier to support over its entire lifecycle. Consumer behavior has also influenced this fear. Users are no longer impressed by feature overload. In fact, excessive functionality often creates frustration rather than delight. Many advanced features go unused, while cluttered interfaces make core tasks harder. Tech companies are increasingly aware that simplicity, clarity, and reliability matter more than technical ambition for most buyers. Over-engineering also increases the risk of poor user experience. When devices try to do too much, they often do many things poorly instead of a few things well. Features compete for attention, battery life suffers, and performance becomes inconsistent. Companies now recognize that users judge devices based on how they feel in daily use, not how many features they list on a spec sheet. Cost sensitivity plays another major role. Advanced components and complex designs raise bill of materials costs. In a competitive market, those costs cannot always be passed on to consumers through higher prices. Over-engineered products can quickly become unprofitable, especially if demand falls short of expectations. This makes leadership teams more cautious about approving ambitious designs. Software dependency further amplifies the risk. Many hardware features rely heavily on software to function properly. Over-engineering hardware without equally mature software can result in incomplete or unreliable experiences. Tech companies have been burned by launching devices with features that technically existed but did not work well in practice. Avoiding this mismatch has become a priority. Regulatory and compliance concerns also discourage over-engineering. More complex devices face greater scrutiny around safety, privacy, energy use, and data handling. Each added capability can introduce new regulatory obligations and legal exposure. For devices sold at scale, even small compliance issues can become major liabilities. Another factor is update and longevity pressure. Consumers now expect devices to receive updates and remain usable for many years. Over-engineered devices are harder to maintain long-term because supporting every feature over time becomes costly and technically challenging. Simpler designs are easier to update, optimize, and keep relevant. There is also reputational risk. When highly ambitious devices fail or are discontinued, the public remembers. Abandoned platforms and unsupported features erode brand trust. Tech companies are now more aware that launching something overly complex and then pulling back damages credibility more than never launching it at all. As a result, many companies are adopting a restraint-first design philosophy. Instead of asking what is technically possible, teams ask what is truly necessary. Features must justify their existence by improving real-world use, not just engineering pride. This leads to more focused products with clearer value propositions. This fear of over-engineering does not mean innovation has stopped. It means innovation has become more selective. Tech companies still experiment, but much of that experimentation happens internally, through prototypes and controlled testing rather than public launches. Only features that prove durable, intuitive, and scalable make it into final products. The rise of software-driven innovation has reinforced this trend. Many capabilities that once required specialized hardware can now be delivered through software updates. This reduces the need to over-engineer devices up front. Hardware becomes a stable platform, while software evolves over time. From a strategic perspective, avoiding over-engineering aligns with long-term sustainability. Devices that are simpler, more reliable, and easier to support tend to generate higher customer satisfaction and lower lifetime costs. In a mature market, these qualities matter more than technical spectacle. Ultimately, tech companies are afraid of over-engineering because they have learned its true cost. Complexity creates fragility. Ambition without restraint creates risk. In today's industry, success is no longer defined by how much a device can do, but by how consistently and effortlessly it does what users actually need. This shift marks a maturation of the tech industry. Innovation is no longer about pushing boundaries at any cost. It is about knowing which boundaries not to cross. And in that environment, restraint has become one of the most valuable design principles of all.